Hey, what's up everyone? It's me, Larry the Batman fan, and I'm back with another video. Excuse me. Tonight we're going to be going over my original Xbox games. Um, this is a updated video from the original film that I did that was split into two parts. Although I wasn't filming like this. This was back before I had the tripod. So this is just basically an updated collection on my original Xbox. Um, to be honest with y'all, I haven't played my original Xbox in quite a while. I should go back to it, but I've got all these systems to play. I just haven't had the time. But I've got three large stacks here, plus I do have uh, about 10 of them that are just loose disc in these sleeves right here that I want to show all of you. I'm going to give some commentary on most of the games. I'll try to keep them brief because I like to keep this video at about 40 minutes or less if possible. But I do want to at least give my opinions and thoughts on these games. I've played most of them enough to give my thoughts on them. So I'm going to go right ahead and get to it. First off, we have the original Halo Combat Evolved. This is a great first-person shooter game on the original Xbox. This was groundbreaking for Xbox. Microsoft did a great job with this game. This was definitely a reason to own the original Xbox back in 2001, I believe. This was a good reason to own one because its campaign kicked ass. The multiplayer was so much fun, especially you got four controllers and you're just shooting each other in the levels and stuff. It's challenging but fun going against your friends. It's a shame that my friend Joseph is in New York City right now, so we can't really hang out. And Kyle's too busy with work and stuff. We just haven't been able to get together and play some video games, play this again. Because if they were able to come by, they would. We would definitely play this. This is up there in terms of like first-person shooters. For multiplayers, GoldenEye's where it's at. Halo's where it's at. Halo 2 was where it was at. And Call of Duty Black Ops 2 I thought was really good when it came to like multiplayer aspect of things for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. I never played the Wii U version. But yeah, great game. I love it. Good everything really. Master Chief is a very iconic character for Xbox. And it's definitely one of the best games on the Xbox too, I gotta say that. Next up we got Half-Life 2. Look at that price tag. I paid $6 for it. I was basically collecting them for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $10. Anywhere between $10 and less. Original Xbox games have gone up ever since, but I'm glad I got a lot of them when I did and held on to them. Because a lot of them are not this cheap anymore. But this is a great first-person shooter as well. It was also released on the PC. Playing as Dr. Robert Freeman or Friedman, something like that. He's a survivor from Half-Life universe. The first game came out on PS2 and PC. Never came out on the original Xbox. I don't know why, but it never did. But Valve is pretty awesome with the Half-Life series. They really should do another Half-Life game. I did hear about a Half-Life 3, but I don't know if that came to pass or not. But this was pretty good, and this was one of my favorite games on the original Xbox. And Dr. Robert Friedman is a very interesting character. And, you know what you do in this game. You shoot aliens and you kill them, and you fight these mutated freaks in the game. It's good. I like it. It's a good game for the original Xbox. One of my favorites. Crazy Taxi 3 High Rollers. Very good game. This is the only way to play it was on the original Xbox. I played the first two on Dreamcast. I know the first game was also ported to the PS2, and I think it was also on GameCube as well. I don't know if it came out on the original Xbox, the first game rather. The second game was pretty much on nothing except Sega Dreamcast. Although they did make a PSP port, that might have had the second game on it. But this was good. It just improved everything upon the first two. Driving around, picking people up in the taxi to tell you to go to a certain destination where it could be KFC, could be the casino, could be the strip club. You know, it could be McDonald's. It could be all sorts of places, but you got to be speedy and fast. And then you get like these idiotic drivers that get in the way. Sometimes crash right into you, and they say, "Oh, you suck at driving." The people start like complaining in the car. That was annoying. But other than that, generally speaking, this is a pretty fun game. I do enjoy Crazy Taxi 3 High Rollers. It's still a fun driving game. The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. I only got this game because Joseph's mom and I made a trade. She wanted some Looney Tunes comic books. I said, alright, I'll give them to you for free instead of charging you if you get me this game. And so she said, okay. And she bought me the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. I have not sank a lot of time into the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind yet. I'm missing the manual, but I do have the little inserts from back in the day. I picked this up at Vortex Video Games. This was a pickup there. It's one of the few retro game stores in my area. But yeah, we got this in a trade. I got it in a trade rather. And I played a little bit of it. I enjoy it. The mechanics in the game are usually fair. There was this one boss that was a huge pain in the ass to be. I mean, I must have died like 40 or 50 times before I finally beat that boss. It was annoying. But I can definitely see why people love this RPG series. It's really good. I never played the first two. I own the fourth one on Xbox 360, and I own the fifth one on Xbox 360. I know the fifth one, Skyrim, got ported to the Nintendo Switch later on, the PS4, and the Xbox One. So this one, I believe, was only on PC and the original Xbox. I don't think it was on anything else. So this is the only way to play this game. But it's good, fun RPG game, massive worlds. It's nice getting a bow and arrow to shoot enemies and upgrade yourself with spells and potions to save your life, health, HP, health points, you know. Crazy bunch of stuff that you could do in this game. And overall, it's a good game. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorites on the original Xbox. This one I have in a GameStop case. I bought this off of Mr. Deals. It was in a 3 for $10 deal. I see I got it right here. Yep, 3 for $10 deal. I got the receipt. Looks like I spent $46 that day. But I have Operation Flashpoint Elite. You know, Mr. Deals takes games like this, but he usually discounts them if they don't have the original cover art. But it was in a 3 for $10 deal, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just get it. I got it. And I haven't played it a lot, but from what I played, it's a tactical shooter. It's not like Call of Duty at all. It's more like a SOCOM type of game, and it's very easy to die. So just keep that in mind when you're playing this game, that you really got to be strategic in your how you go about things, like with shooting people and taking bad guys out, terrorists out, because otherwise you're going to get your ass kicked in this game, you know. I mean, the SOCOM games were really hard, like one hit and you're dead, you know, just merciless. I think this one you could take 2 or 3 hits and then you were dead, which was a bit more fair, but still pretty damn hard. But it was alright for a shooting game, not too bad. Serious Sam 2, this is a great game to play when you're pissed off. I just want to shoot everything in sight. It's a good game, very fun. I picked this up years ago at Pastime Legends when they were still open in Lark Street location for $5. I mean, that's a good deal. I think they have the Serious Sam collection on Xbox 360 on eBay. It's about 15 to 22 or $23. You might want to get that version because you have the first one and the second one, which were originally on the Xbox, but on that collection. And then there's another game that's also attached to that collection as well. I'm not sure what it is. It might be Next Encounter, which uh, was on GameCube, and I think it was on the original Xbox as well. I'm not sure if it was on PS2 though. But this is good. It's a good, quirky, somewhat funny kind of first-person shooter game. It's pretty good. I liked it. Thought it was a good game. Here's one that's not so good. World War II combat. Iwo Jima or Jima. It was based off the movie Letters to Iwo Jima, which was a war film. They made this into a game, a licensed game, and it sucks because I mean it's a first-person shooter game, and sometimes when they make a movie license game, it's good. Examples of good movie license game around this time: Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, King Kong, The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay, and not Enter the Matrix. The Matrix Path of Neo. That was good. And The Simpsons Hit and Run. Those are some of the good licensed games. I also thought that SpongeBob Battle for the Bikini Bottom was a pretty good game, and Shrek 2. Um, and Batman Begins. Those were a few other honorable mentions for licensed games. But this one was terrible. I mean, when you die, you literally go back to the same spot that you died at, and then you move forward and you blow up. It's like stupid, man. Like, why would they do that? It makes no sense. They should put you in a spot furthering you in the game. Some games do that. You're screwing up. Well, let's go ahead and put you further in the game so that way you don't land in those bombs or mines or something. Not in this game. It puts you right back at the same spot. So that is why I hated this game. You know, I mean, maybe the way later levels got better, but I could not get past that part, man. It was just driving me nuts. And it was in the beginning of the game. It's like the first or second level of the game. I could not pass that part. I said, screw it. I gave up. Tried like 100 times to get past that part. Couldn't do it. So I didn't like that game at all. Next up, we have Rogue Ops. Almost said Roro Ops. Whoops. Slip of the tongue. Rogue Ops was a pretty fun stealth game. It does have some shooting in it, but it relies more on the stealth. This was also on GameCube and PS2. I thought that overall this was a pretty good game. Back in the early 2000s when my old friend Michael had a GameCube, I remember having Bloody Roar Primal Fury, Rogue Ops, The Sims. I'm not sure if it was the first one or Busting Out. I'm not sure. And he had Def Jam and Fight for New York and one other game. It might have been Mario or something. And I couldn't play this game. I just had to watch because I know it was M-rated, and he knew that my mom didn't like M-rated games. His mother was kind of like that too because they were a Christian family. But I guess his mother wasn't as stingy or strict, that's the word, about M-rated games, so she still let him play them. And this game, I just had to watch. For the longest time, I was like, what is that game where you play as a blonde? You go up against walls sometimes to try and get past certain pathways, climb up ropes and ladders, and you shoot people from behind the back and get across obstacle courses without hitting any laser beams. And I looked that shit up on Google.com and found out it was Rogue Ops. So I was like, oh, you know what? I gotta get that game. And I went to Pastime Legends. Saw they had it one day for $4, and I was like, sold. I bought it. I think they had the GameCube version at the time, but they wanted almost $10 for it. So I was like, $4 for the Xbox version or the GameCube version. I was like, I'll get the Xbox version. And from what I played of it, it was pretty good. I liked it. It was a good stealth game. Hunter the Reckoning Redeemer. Haven't sank a lot of time into this game. I got this game a year ago at J Street Video Games. But from what I did play of this game, I did enjoy it. It's one of those games where you play as this character, a guy or a girl, and you go through levels and you just kill zombies in the game and these weird creatures in the game. It was pretty good, I thought. This one I think was exclusive to the Xbox. It doesn't say only on Xbox, so actually I think it was on PC as well. But it never got a release on PS2 or GameCube, which is weird, because the first game came out for the original Xbox and GameCube, but not the PS2, which is weird. The second one came out only on the PS2, and this version came out on Xbox and PC. So it's like, what kind of marketing was that? Like, people who only had one of those consoles were only able to play like one of the games. It was really stupid. I mean, the Xbox got lucky with the first game and this one, but people who didn't have a PS2 could not play Wayward, so that was kind of gay, kind of stupid. But yeah, overall, not a bad game. Definitely worth checking out. I paid $15 for it a year ago. I'm pretty sure it's still around that price. Here's one that's on PC, but it's also on Xbox. It's Thief Deadly Shadows. I got this years ago off of eBay. I couldn't find it anywhere else. I bought it off of eBay for about $15. And it's pretty fucking hard, but overall, it's still a pretty good game. Good stealth game. I liked it. I even liked the Thief game that they released on PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, and Xbox One. I thought that was a good stealth game as well. But I know a lot of people didn't really like that reboot. They said it was trash. I didn't think it was trash. I thought it was alright. I never played the other 2 or 3 Thief games that were available on the PC. Never played them before. Unfortunately, the Metal Jacket and the Dark Age, I think that's what the names of them were. They were innovative for their time. I'm not sure how they hold up now. I don't own a PC currently, so even if I bought the games, it would just sit on my shelf. But from what I played, it's a stealth game. Plays a guy go around murdering people. It's pretty, you know, uh, self-explanatory, but it's pretty good. Pretty bloody too. I must say, pretty bloody. But there's no cursing or sexual themes in the game like the later game had. No smoking in the game either. Armed and Dangerous was a good game. This was a third-person shooter game. You play as one of these 3 characters. Well, actually, there's four characters, but one of the characters is not playable. But it's a third-person shooter, and it was creative. Like, you could throw fish at your enemies in this game. You could summon sharks, I think, to kill enemies. It was interesting. And it's good. I got this game for $4 years ago, and I still held on to it. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good game. Definitely worth checking out. Next up, we got Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Academy. Or no, Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Good Star Wars game, really fun. Only available on Xbox and PC. Definitely worth checking out. It's a fun game. Loved it. It's it just has some shooting in it, like a first-person shooter segments in the game, but it's not completely first-person shooter because there's lightsaber stuff that you do in the game when you're playing as the Jedi. So there's a lot of like hack and slash type elements in the game too. Multi-genres thrown into one: action, adventure. You get swords that you wield to fight enemies and droids and things like that. Stormtroopers, and you kick ass with a gun too. You shoot people with guns. So really good game. I recommend it. I got the sequel in here as well. Midnight Club 2. This was a fun game. Also available on PS2. Don't know if it came out on Xbox, GameCube. I mean, but it was fun. This one's cheap. It's only about $8. It's worth picking up for $8. Or you could get the PS2 version if you want. But yeah, it's a fun racing game. It had some tracks that you could listen to while you play the game. I remember that one song, "What Is It," which was with Master Ace and Tommy T. Those two guys made a rap song together. 3.5, 4 minute song. You could listen to that in this game. There was some other tracks, some other hip hop tracks in the game, and I think there was a little bit of rock and punk rock in the game as well. You know, there was a free roaming mode in the game where you just drive around the city and stuff. That was fun for a while. It got a little bit boring after like 30 minutes, but it was still fun for the time being. It was better when you unlocked more, you know, spots in the actual campaign, because then when you had free mode or multiplayer, you had more tracks to select, because when you were playing that mode, you only got one unlocked track. The rest of them were all locked. So you had to unlock those. But pretty fun racing game with Rockstar. You know, the company Rockstar that made Grand Theft Auto, Bully, Max Payne's, and Manhunt. And Manhunt 2 made this game as well. Pretty good. One of the few T games that they made. There was one or two E games that they made too, but Rockstar is basically known for making mature rated games. Oh yeah, I almost forgot they also made L.A. Noire as well, which was a pretty fun detective game. Next up, you got Shell Shock NAM's 97 or 67. Pretty fun war game, not bad. Trying to speed this up a little bit. Next up, we have Dead to Rights, which was on GameCube and PS2 as well, but it's also released on Xbox here. Not sure if the second one came on Xbox or not, but I liked Dead to Rights. Thought it was a good game. I think I own this as well on PS2. Really great game. Graphics look a little bit better on the Xbox. It's a third-person shooter game where you play as a cop. In the game, you have a dog that helps you out in the game, killing bad guys and arresting people. And things like that. Overall, it was pretty good. Played a little bit like Max Payne, but I don't think quite as good as Max Payne, but still pretty fun. Star Wars Republic Commando, great game, great first-person shooter game in the Star Wars franchise. Was really blown away by this. Really great, a lot of fun. You play as a stormtrooper or someone in the army of Star Wars universe, commanding three other guys to go to this place or return to him. Um, you're the leader. You give the commands and they follow your commands, and you shoot droids, stormtroopers, and these giant robots with tanks and shit. And it's a really good game. I like it. Good game. Dreamfall is another one of my favorites on the original Xbox, and it came out towards the end of the original Xbox life cycle. It came out 2006. About 2 years later, they discontinued the original Xbox. Great graphics. Storyline was basic. Was basically her, and she had like a ex-boyfriend or something like that. And I think he goes missing, and so you're kind of on the search for him. You and your friend in the game. I think her name's Zoe in this game. So Zoe and one other girl kind of look around for, gathering up clues and everything, trying to find out what the hell happened to your ex-boyfriend. But it takes a while to get through the levels and stuff. I made it to the second level of the game, and I played it for quite a while, and then I just put it down. I should go back to this game, because from what I played of it, it was a great adventure game, and one of my favorites on the original Xbox. Couldn't believe it. And these graphics for this game, damn good. They held up over these years. I couldn't believe it. This game literally looks like an Xbox 360 title. It doesn't even look like an original Xbox game. That's mind-blowing. Because it's not a 360 game at all. It's not even an Xbox One. Now, I'm going to say it's not up to the graphic level of Xbox One, but for Xbox 360, I would say that this game looks pretty close to an Xbox 360 game. Like, I'm just blown away by the graphics and that. Give me a second. Fable Lost Chapters, great RPG game, a lot of fun. Play as a young boy. He's like 9 or 10 years old. You go through the levels. You walk up the doors. You talk to the doors. Some of the doors are evil. Some of them are good. Some of them are neutral. And you choose your path. You could be either good, like this kid, or you could be evil. But if you start doing evil deeds, people will start to see it, and they'll chase you out of certain towns and areas. They won't watch you there. And then some areas that are also evil will welcome you there. Yeah, it's a shame they haven't made a Fable 4. I guess Microsoft just has forgotten all about Fable. It would be nice if this series would make a comeback because it's a great RPG, action RPG. A lot of fun. Jade Empire. Bought this at Mr. Deals years ago. This version was $17.99. It had another version that had like a extra disc in it, and I think that had the manual. This one was missing the manual, but I decided to get it because it was like $5 cheaper. It's a great RPG game. What can I say? BioWare was at the top of their game when it came to role-playing games on the original Xbox back in the early 2000s. I'm not sure if BioWare is still around to this day, but from what I know, they make some damn good RPG games. This was a great game. This is one of my favorites as well, along with Fable and Dreamfall and the Star Wars games on here. And Halo, of course. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon 2, Summit Strike. This game sucks because the hit detection in the game is not spot on, and you can kill your teammates in this game, and that just makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, they needed to turn off that friendly fire shit because without turning it off, I kill all my teammates and then I'm by myself, and then guess what happens? I end up killed. So I hated this game. I thought it was gonna be good. I shouldn't have bought that game. It was like $7.99 at Mr. Deals. I was saying, it's a cheap game. What the hell? It might be good. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Lockdown. Good strategy, tactical type of shooter. Not too bad, but it was really fucking hard. I mean, I kept getting killed at this certain point. I think I made it to the second level, just kept getting my ass handed to me. It was the same with the third game, Rainbow Six 3. That game was really, really hard. All the Rainbow Six games on the original Xbox were just ridiculously hard. And some of the mechanics in the game they sucked. They friendly fire, of your teammates and them dying. That just is stupid. So they really should have had a option in the menus to turn that off because that really just annoyed the hell out of me. It really did. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, same problem. Not really a great Ghost Recon game. Could have been a lot better. I know there's also Ghost Recon 2 for PS2, Xbox, and GameCube. And that game also stinks, in my opinion. So it's a disappointing game. But it was only like $5, so whatever. $5 for a game. It's not too bad. Conflict Vietnam. I got this years ago. $5.99. Pretty good game. This was, I think, one of the first that was rated M for mature for the Conflict series because a lot of them were T for teen. Before this one and Global Terror. But it's good. It's a good game. I liked it. But it's not at all like Call of Duty. It's not shoot everything in sight, take a little bit of cover, and then keep shooting things. It's not like Call of Duty, Halo, or Battlefield at all. Give me a second. Enclave. Never played it. Yeah, I honestly never played this one. I got this at DK Oldies online, and it looks like they put in a 360 case because I guess the original case was all messed up, but it's complete. It's cheap. It was only about 10 to 15 bucks. You know, I've heard it's a action RPG, but I haven't played it yet, so can't really say much about it. Doom 3. This is one I got off of Matthew like a year ago. I played this a bit. This game was really scary, to be honest with you. Out of all the Doom games I played, this one was really scary. Every corner you turn, you never know what's going to be up next in that corner. Like moving through the doors, turning right and left, and oh shit! Like, whoa! Scared the crap out of me. Like, this was definitely a good Doom game, but very scary and a lot different than the other Doom games. Um, you can die pretty easily, you know. So this one, it's a first-person shooter, but it definitely ties in with survival horror as well. Definitely a freaky game. I mean, the first level of the game, it's like you and I think two other people. But unfortunately, I actually think it was four people now. It was three or four of y'all. But only you and one other person survived. The other two people that were on your team, they get killed by some weird monsters, you know. And then the other one's communicating with you, but in a isn't with you through the whole game. Just communicates with you through a walkie-talkie or a cell phone. But yeah, I like this game. I thought it was good. Good first-person shooter slash survival horror game. I think that's one Jackal Goldkick would really like. I know it's not big into first-person shooter games, but I think that one he would really like. Mace Griffin Bounty Hunter, also available on PS2. This was a good game. It's a first-person shooter game for the Xbox. But like I said, it was also available on PS2. I don't think it was on GameCube though. GameCube was not getting a lot of the first-person shooters. They were just left in the dust for some reason. But yeah, it was good. It's outdated now, but it's still a pretty good game overall. Dead Man's Hand. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. I know we're at like 32 minutes. Wow. Holy crap. Broken Sword. Uh, the Sleeping Dragon. There's a couple of Broken Sword games. I have the other one on the Wii, and I'm pretty sure there was one on Nintendo DS and one on the PS2 or PS3. They're like adventure games with some uh, puzzle solving elements and point and click elements. This is First to Fight. This was a first person shooter game. This game is really hard. I died pretty quickly in this game, to be honest with y'all. It's like two hits and you could die. So like this game doesn't fuck around. Like this game is really hard for a first person shooter game. It's very realistic, you know. But from what I played, it wasn't too bad. But it was very hard, I will say. I picked it up at J Street Video Games probably about 8 years ago for $5. Not bad. Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I am a fan of Chronicles of Narnia. I know it's Christian. I'm Christian, so it's fine. Um, Not as good as the Prince Caspian game, which was on PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii. But it wasn't a bad licensed game, honestly. I still thought it was enjoyable, and there were some fun things about this game. So I would recommend it. It's not a bad game. It's like a 3 out of 5. But this licensed game stinks. Pirates of the Caribbean. This licensed game is terrible. Don't buy it. It's like a 1 out of 5 or a 1.5 out of 5. 2 at the most. The reason this game stinks is because like I hated going through a door, right? There's a treasure chest there. I need to select the item to pick up the gun, the sword, and the map. Takes forever. Sometimes I had to leave the room, go back in, screw around with everything that's in that room, and then go back to the treasure chest, try to pick up the item, select it through the thing, hit the button, the X button or A button, whatever button it is on that controller. But that was very frustrating. The combat system in this game sucked as well. Fighting those giant skeletons later on in the game was such a chore. I hated it. I hated this game, man. Just bad. Really bad game. You want a decent Pirates of the Caribbean game, play it at World's End. This one stinks. Quantum Redship was a pretty fun Wipeout game, but it is nowhere near as good as Wipeout. But still was a pretty fun game overall for a racing game. Futuristic racing game. I know Power Drone was a little bit like that too, and its futuristic thing. And Kinetica on PS2, that too. Furious Karting. This was okay. Not amazing, but it was alright. It's basically a car combat type of game. Not on the level of Twisted Metal at all, though. But think of Mario Kart, but instead of throwing shells at your enemies, you get bats, clubs, and crowbars to whack your enemies. And I'm pretty sure there was a power up you get in the level which had a tail at the end of the car where you could whack the enemies to the side, throw them off course so you could take first place. That was kind of cool. So overall, that game was okay. We have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. Both great games on the original Xbox. A lot of fun. I like the second one slightly better. That's because I had an annoying bullshit with the doors system, like in the first game. Because in the first game, when you walk up to the door, sometimes it took me like 10 minutes just to figure out how the hell do I open up the door. Like it should just be a simple click and then it opens up. But sometimes it's not so easy opening up the door. So that was a frustrating part of the game. But I did still like this game overall. Still a very good RPG game in the Star Wars franchise. Very fun beating up bad guys and kicking ass, with your sword and, kick them a little bit. Possibly like that. But yeah, overall, a pretty good game. And that was made by BioWare. And then I guess the sequel, they decided to have Obsidian take over, and they improved the game even more than the first one. Honestly, it was really good. And I got this game about a year ago off of Matthew, Gimby Ninja Gaming, for $5. Can't beat that. Game's going for about 20 to 30. Hell of a deal. Crimson Skies is a fun game. I love this game. One of my favorites on the Xbox. It's in my top 20 best Xbox games. A lot of fun. Definitely a good flying game. I recommend it. And the graphics hold up very well. Very good game. Pirates. Star Wars Jedi Outcast Jedi Knight 2. I got this at Vortex Video Games. Great game. It's also available on PC and Nintendo GameCube. Never came out on PS2, surprisingly. I don't know why, but it never did. They did make a port of this recently, the first and second game for the Nintendo Switch, but I don't know if that's any good or not, but I know it's available. But great sequel, a lot of fun, same type of deal. Parts of the game is like lightsaber with your lightsaber sword, and other parts it's a first-person shooter. Taito Legends picked up at Empire Video Games over a year ago. Great game, a lot of fun. Get a whole bunch of classic games from the NES, Sega Genesis, and Super Nintendo days. You get Space Invaders, Jungle Hunt, Bubble Bobble, Operation Wolf, Phoenix, Elevator Action, The New Zealand Story, Rainbow Islands, Space Invaders Part 2, and a whole bunch of other ones on here. It's a really great game, a lot of fun. It was also available on PS2 as well. Freedom Fighters is a pretty good game. It's a third-person shooter game. It's also available on PS2 and GameCube. A lot of fun. Definitely worth checking out. Pretty cheap. I picked it up at Shroomies Video Games out in Glenmont a year ago, and yeah, definitely worth the money. Oh, the disc. I noticed that the disc was kind of scratched. Had some scratches on the disc. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I think it still played in my Xbox. But if I have any problems with it, I'll just get the PS2 version of it. But yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. A lot of games that were on PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, it just seemed like I don't usually go for the GameCube version for some reason. I don't know why. I guess I think overall the original Xbox and the PS2 were superior over what the GameCube lacked. Because there wasn't as many games on GameCube that was as interesting to me personally. And a lot of games that were being released on Xbox and PS2 were not being released on GameCube for some weird reason. Special Forces Nemesis Strike. Destroy All Humans. Good game. I like this game. It was a fun game. Plays an alien. It's like a third-person shooter. Go around killing people and, you know, what's the word? Controlling people's minds or some shit. Something like that. It was good. It's a shame that after the second game, the series fell off quite a bit. I mean, the Wii version wasn't very good. That game was kind of crap. And then the one on 360 I heard wasn't very good either. Path of the Furon, I heard that game was a pile of crap. Wolverine's Revenge. That was an okay beat 'em up game. A licensed game. Shadow Ops Red Mercury. Pretty good first person shooter from what I played. Underrated. But I got all the way through the first level of the game. Got to the very end. Got to an area where I got stuck. Killed all the bad guys. Could not figure out where to go whatsoever. So I was just lost. Didn't know where to go. So I had to give up. I went back. I backtracked. Couldn't find nothing. Went forward, tried to progress. There was fire around this certain area. The car was there. I didn't know where to go, so it might have been good, but I couldn't figure out where to go. Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones, good game. Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball, pretty hard. I kept getting hit with that damn paintball gun, so people were shooting at me. I didn't get very far. I'm not very good at this game, unfortunately. 4x4 Evo 2, pretty fun racing game. Picked that up on Valentine's Day at Pastime Legends. They were having a deal on two-player games. They were like 50% off on that day. It was interesting. I picked up like 10 different games or 11 different games and got like 3 of them or 4 of them for like 50% off. It was really nice. Ridge Racing Evolution or R Racing Revolution. This was an okay racing game. Not the best game in the Ridge Racer series, but it was alright. It was also available on GameCube, I believe. Nightcaster. This was a disappointing game. I talked about this in the worst video games we played, part 2, collab with Jackal Goldkick. I didn't like this game because it was very confusing. You had this, like, you were playing as a wizard, and again, that's who you are playing as. Kind of goes against my religion, but I didn't see that at first when I first looked at it. It just looked like an interesting game. Picked it up in the 3 for $10 deal on Mr. Deals. But anyways, it's a very confusing game. The orb thing that you have that you walk around with, it's just confusing. There's like red, blue, green, and all these different colors for the orb. And it had different attacks for each thing. But the enemies, like, you can attack them till the cows start flying. And wouldn't figure out what the fuck you're doing wrong. Like, it just is crazy. Like, some of the things that the orb has kills them, and other things it just stuns them. It doesn't do much. Sometimes you use it to open up doors and stuff, but it's just a confusing game. I could not get into this game. So overall, I didn't really like the game. It wasn't a good game at all. Midway Arcade Treasures. This was good. It was also on GameCube and PS2. You get a bunch of games. You get Spy Hunter, Defender, Defender 2, Gauntlet, Gauntlet 2, Joust, Joust 2, Paperboy, Rampage, Robotron, 2084, Smash TV, Bubbles, Roadmaster, and a bunch of others right here. And yeah, overall, pretty fun game. Has a bunch of games from the NES, Super Nintendo, and I think Sega Genesis. You know, you get Marble Madness in here. That was an NES game. Um, Root Beer Tapper and Splat and Clax are also on here. Tubin. So you get a lot of NES games for one value. I paid $7 for this game. Not bad for that. And I got that years ago. Alright, I gotta sit back. Reckless, the Yakuza missions. This was an okay driving game. Not amazing, but overall, still a pretty fun game for what it was. It's also on GameCube and PS2. Halo 2 is a great game. Definitely recommend this for your original Xbox. It is a must-own for the Xbox, or you could get the Xbox One version of this game. Definitely don't pass this one up if you see it and you have an original Xbox. It's worth every penny. The $10 you'll spend on that game, it's worth it. Great first-person shooter game, and the best game on the Xbox, in my opinion. Brute Force, this was an underrated game. I honestly can't believe why they didn't make a sequel to Brute Force. It should have been a Brute Force 2, but they never made it happen. This was back when they were trying to figure out, can we make a game that will stick? They had this, Blinks the Time Sweeper, Halo, a couple other titles. Just trying to find a mascot that actually would stay around. And none of them worked until Halo, unfortunately. But from what I played, this was a pretty decent third-person shooter game. Batman Rise of Sin Tzu, or Tzu, however you pronounce it. This was a decent Batman game, but one problem is it's very repetitive. It gets boring after like an hour. You gotta put it down and go back to it later. But it is nice being able to play as Batman, Robin, Nightwing, or Batgirl in this game. That was pretty cool. Actually, I'm not 100% sure you can play as Nightwing, but I know you can play as Robin or Batgirl. I played through the campaign with Batgirl. I gotta say, I enjoyed it, but it was very repetitive. Same areas, beating guys up, and then going to the next area, beating guys up. It just goes on and on and on. Monotonous. The game was also on PS2 and GameCube. Soldier Fortune 2, Double Helix, decent first-person shooter game. Still having the shrink wrap. I have played it before though. The first one was on PS2. I think it was also on. It was on Dreamcast and PC as well, but I don't think they put it on the original Xbox. World Racing. I picked this up for about $5 or $6 off of eBay. Have not played it, but I'm sure it's good. It's a exclusive game. I'm looking out for only on Xbox exclusive titles for my original Xbox. I like to get a lot of those if I can, because I mainly collect exclusives for original Xbox. But I kind of sound like a hypocrite because I do have about probably 20 or so titles here that are not exclusive. So I guess I don't know. Anyways, 25 to Life, pretty good third-person shooter game. It got really tough though as the levels went on. Just ridiculous. I couldn't get past this one part. Playing as this Hispanic dude, talking in some Spanish language and a little bit of English. They're after me. The Hispanic gang is after me or something. I kept dying at that spot. It took me forever to get past that part. But overall, it was a decent third-person shooter game. Classified the Sentinel Crisis. This game was not very good. It had a lot of glitches in the game. Very unfortunate. Dead or Alive 3, very good fighting game. Definitely worth checking out if you have an Xbox. I'm not sure if it was exclusive on Xbox. It doesn't say it's exclusive, so it might have been on PC. Or, I don't know if it was on PS2. It may not have been, or maybe it was. I know the second one was, but overall it was a pretty good fighting game. I think that's the only fighting game I have for Xbox. Destroy All Humans 2, good follow up, good sequel to the first game. It's a shame that the rest of the series just isn't very good. Hitman 3 Contracts. This was a pretty good game. Although I think I like Sam Fisher better because he's a hero. Agent 47 is not a hero. He's an assassin, basically. He's a murderer. So I think I'd rather play the Sam Fisher games, the Splinter Cell games, because that game you're actually playing as a good guy, and they're a little bit easier in the stealth terms to get through. The Hitman games were annoying. I could not get past certain areas of the game. Just kept dying. You know, you fuck up once in that game and you pay the ultimate price for it. Because they will come find you. And they will kill you. Quick. Mech Assault. This was a pretty good game. Good robot shoot 'em up game. I enjoyed it. It was fun. And it was exclusive. Followed up with Mech Assault 2 Lone Wolf. Not as good as the first one. They tried to add some extra things into the game that wasn't necessary. So it wasn't as good as the first, unfortunately. But it wasn't a bad game, though. It just wasn't as good as the first. And that's why they never made a Mech Assault 3, unfortunately. We're almost done. American Army. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. I never played this on the original Xbox. This is factory sealed. Got this off of Bajillion Books. I'm not going to open this copy. I have a funny feeling that in years from now this might be worth something. So I'm just going to keep it sealed. I could get this game on the GameCube. Definitely not going to get it on PS2 again. The graphics look like muddy ass dog shit. They look fucking terrible. But in this version, they actually look pretty good. And the GameCube version looked a lot better too. PS2 version is just not the version to get when getting this particular game in the series. I have Rally Sport Challenge 2, which is seen gameplay on it. It's a racing game. Easy left, easy right, hard turn. Never could get into those racing games that did that. I mean, MRC did that, and Sega Rally Championship for Sega Saturn did that. It just was annoying. But I never played it because it's factory sealed, and it will remain sealed. Far Cry Instincts, it was a good game overall, but there was some problems with the game. Going back to it now, it doesn't hold up as well as the other Far Cry games in the franchise. But I would be lying if I said I didn't have some fun with this title. Did still enjoy this game to a certain extent. So still had some fun with it. Alright, let's finish this. Bloodwake. Great game. Plays very similar to Twisted Metal, except instead of a car, you're in a boat. I liked it. Very fun. Definitely worth a buy if you have an original Xbox. It's exclusive to the original Xbox. Shenmue 2 was also available on Dreamcast. It says only available on Xbox at the time. It was either Dreamcast from Japan or the original Xbox. But now it's been ported to the PS4 with updated graphics. So you might want to get that version. Shenmue 1 was a solid game, and this one is just as solid. Although I haven't played a whole lot of it because I wanted to get through the first game. And I picked that up probably about 6 months ago for Dreamcast and just haven't gotten around to officially beating that game. But Shenmue's pretty cool. Overall, it's a good game. Pretty fun. Combat Task Force 121 or 121. Haven't played it yet. I got this off of Matthew for dirt cheap, about $7. It's a first-person shooter game. It was exclusive for original Xbox. Toxic Grind was an okay bike type of game, kind of like Dave Mirra or Matt Hoffman. There was a big craze going on. Everybody was trying to capitalize on Tony Hawk, and this was kind of like the same thing. Did not live up to expectations in terms of Tony Hawk, but still overall was a decent bike game. Not too bad. Didn't control poorly. So overall, I thought it was okay. But yeah, definitely not on Tony Hawk's level. Tony Hawk was the shit. Conflict Desert Storm, also available on PS2 and Xbox, or I mean GameCube rather. It's a tactical shooter game, and it's not too bad. Pariah, great game. Ninja Gaiden, hard as hell. I can't get very far in this game. The game kicks my ass, man. I'm sure a lot of gamers out there feel the same way, that this game is hard as hell. Man, this game's tough. Oof. Yeah, this game really pissed me off, to be honest. This is a game that would probably piss off Jackal Goldkick. And if he was able to beat this game, then he's a better gamer than me, because I don't think I'll ever beat this game. That third boss, I cannot get past that third boss. I got so mad at the game. I was like, throwing the controller on the floor, turning off the Xbox, ejecting it from the top button, and just taking it out and put it right back in the case, because that's how pissed off I got playing that game. I hate games that just frustrate me to no end, and that game did that to me. But not all the series is like that, but that one in particular just frustrated me. Dark Watch, got this off of TJ Buys and Sells. Haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I've heard it's a horror first-person shooter game. Tenchu Return to Darkness, haven't played this one yet, but the Tenchu games are pretty fun. And now we are on to the final ones, the ones in the loose disc. I don't have a whole lot of them. We got Iron Phoenix, never played it. Call of Duty 2, big red one, also had this on PS2, and I think it was on GameCube as well. Pretty good game. Unreal Championship, good game. From Russia with Love on Xbox, also on PS2 and PSP, and the Nintendo GameCube. It was a good third-person shooter game with James Bond. Sean Connery was the voice in that, not Pierce Brosnan or Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore, or Daniel Craig. This is America's Army. It's a duplicate. Mercenaries, pretty good third-person shooter game. It's also on PS2. Battlefield 2 Modern Combat, also on PS2, and I think it was on GameCube. It was a first-person shooter game. Not bad. I got far in that game, but I never beat it. Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. New Legends, which I haven't played yet, but I do want to eventually get around to playing that, because I've heard it's a decent game. It's like an action-adventure game. And then the last game I have is Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike was a good game, but very challenging, very hard. That's all of my original Xbox games. I have one or two more original Xbox games coming in the mail. One's not worth shit. It's like Tiger Woods, PGA Tour 2003 or 2004, one of them. Not really into that type of game, but it was part of a bundle deal, so I'll take it. And Sadeki, something like that. I'm going to be getting that game. I kind of remember that. I had some fun with that game. I'd like to get Panzer Dragoon Orta, but the prices of that game has just gone up too much. Like 70, 80, 90 bucks for a copy. That's just ridiculous. I'm not going to pay that. And Azuric, that game looked pretty cool too. I remember having the chance to get that back in the day. It was either that or Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. And I stupidly bought Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, thinking it was going to be a good game, and it turned out to be a terrible game, unfortunately. But, when you're younger, you're like, you don't have the money, you can only buy one of them. Which one do you pick? You end up going with your gut, and then you pick one over the other. If you don't have a lot of money, because back then I had to save up like 2 or 3 weeks just to get enough allowance money to buy a game. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. That was about 90 Xbox games. Maybe just slightly less than 90. Might have been 88 if I miscounted, or 89. But that was quite a bit. We had a lot to talk about. Hope you guys had fun. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Take care. Peace.